we often do put our customers first. What do they want? And yeah, that's good. But I challenge that as well, because you can't always do what the customer wants because it doesn't work for you. So you can't then end up giving the customer 100% conviction and good service, I would say.
Welcome to Fuzzled, from confusion to clarity in digital marketing. I'm Paul Culshaw, and I want to open your eyes to clear, simple digital marketing ideas that can help to grow your business. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by marketing jargon or unsure where to start, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll break down one topic in just 10 minutes, no fluff, no fuss, just clarity. Okay, let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to Fuzzled, the podcast that cuts through the noise and gets real about what actually works in digital marketing. If you've ever built a system, a plan, or a content calendar, only to abandon it 3 days later, this episode is going to feel like a deep exhale for you, my friend, because today we're talking about how to build marketing systems you'll actually stick to, especially if your brain doesn't work like everyone else's. And I couldn't think of a better guest to join me than Kate Whitley, a business mentor and consultant who helps founders and entrepreneurs think differently about their marketing. Kate's a sought-after keynote speaker, known for her inspiring blend of psychology, humour and lived experience. She's an ADHD UK Ambassador, UK Parliament ADHD Champion, and co-host of the ADHD Founders Unfiltered podcast. Oh, and I have to say that Kate recently also made her stand-up comedy debut in London. So Kate's approach is real, relatable, and refreshingly human. And today we're going to unpack how to create sustainable marketing systems that work with your brain and not against it. So let's get through all that we've got to go through with Kate today in today's Big Breakdown. Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining us on the Fuzzled podcast.
Thank you for having me, Paul. It's fantastic to be here. Wow, when I heard you say that about myself, I was like, we don't actually hear that enough, do we, about the things that we've been doing, and we should say it about ourselves more often. So thank you for that lovely introduction. That's lovely. Thank you for being here.
Well, you have achieved so much as well. I was really impressed about how you've been on the stage doing comedy in London. That's certainly a fear for lots of people, and that's great to do as part of public speaking. As they get on stage and do a bit of comedy as well. Maybe I could do that at some stage. I don't know. We'll let our listeners know.
Yeah.
So, Kate, this topic today, which we're going to go through, I know that many of our listeners who we call the Fuzzlers, they're going to love it because there's one thing that consistently comes up in my work, and it's people trying to force themselves into systems that don't really fit them. So let's start there. If marketing had a job description, what would it actually say, and why do so many of us get it wrong?
Okay, so let's just set the scene, right? Marketing is about doing something to get something you want. And to do that, we have to use negotiation, we have to use manipulation, and we have to bring in compromise. So if you think about marketing, a lot of people go, marketing, systems, strategy, and shudder. If you just think from day one, you learn how to get what you want from, by being fed. You cry as a baby to be fed. So we learn how to act and behave within our environment to get the things that we need, that we want right now. So if you just apply that in business, and it's exactly the same thing. And I don't like to wishy-washy around it. It is negotiation, it is manipulation, and it is compromise, because we're trying to get people to see how wonderful we are and how wonderful our product is so that they buy it. That's it. End of. I like to say, if marketing had a job description, it would be, I'm marketing. I am a master manipulator, because although a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to be icky sales and sell stuff, and I don't want to come across as that. I'm really sorry that you probably won't make as much money as you'd hoped. Let's just tell the truth. So you have to embrace natural ways of just being and living in the world. And as long as you have ethics and morals and you're a good person, all is good, because you're not out there. People do, obviously, but I'm assuming your listeners, your fuzzlers aren't.
Mhm.
We're here to try and learn how to do that. So marketing's real job is to guide people through a set of making decisions. Yeah. And there's a bit of a cliche, like from curiosity to commitment, but it is that.
Mhm.
So when you walk past a shop and you see, oh, and then you suddenly backtrack and go, oh, that looks nice. That's like one part of marketing. Somebody's got your attention. What happens next is your choice. There's no one, unless they're standing there at the door going, she saw her look through the window. Quick, go out and grab her, bring her in. That doesn't actually happen. Well, it does some places, obviously, but that's not what happens. So we make the choice because of our curiosity, to find out more about it. And then we're going to weigh up all the decisions as to decide whether or not we're going to buy it. And there's certain information we need when we buy certain things. Like if we're going to buy food, we need to make sure, quite simply, is it healthy, fresh, or is it just not off? Is it within date? Things like that, we will automatically know. And it's the same when you're buying anything online. And I think most people treat marketing as like a list of tactics. And I know you did a podcast about the strategy versus tactics. And I thought that was really interesting. So yeah. It's not just a list of things I can do, but if it is a bit, because it's a list of things I can do, which is manipulation or negotiation. Instead of perhaps conversations, I find that people forget the art of marketing. So this is one of the reasons why so many of us get it wrong, that it doesn't have to be that we're out there doing things, putting systems into place. We're marketing right now. You're selling the idea that people who come into the podcast, your podcast, I do the same on my podcast, is a great thing to listen to because it's going to help improve something or by our listening, whether we just feel happy, we take a tip, whatever it is. It's that simple. And so I think the confusion about where we often get it wrong is when we start copying what others are doing and their business isn't the same as our business. Now, it could be similar, but we are different. We are completely different. So instead of designing it how we think and how we communicate, we often do put our customers first. What do they want? And yeah, that's good. But I challenge that as well, because you can't always do what the customer wants because it doesn't work for you. So you can't then end up giving the customer 100% conviction and good service, I would say. Yeah. Is that about sum it up?
No, it does. Very much so. Yeah. I mean, it's very articulate, what you're saying there. I like what or how you phrase marketing as the art of marketing. Absolutely, it is an art. It's certainly a learned skill. And to me, it's the art of persuasion as well within marketing,
It is.
I think in my marketing journey, there's a cliche phrase that I've been on. I find that people who are involved in marketing, so they have a great business, very talented at what they do, need help with marketing. They might have a go at doing marketing themselves. And they probably align to that kind of icky sales mindset. And that's why it doesn't particularly take off too much for them, because they've got the wrong mindset. I mean, a lot of people on social media do DMs, to direct message, friend requests on Facebook and Instagram, introduce yourself in the comments, etc. But a lot of people don't like doing that because they think it's icky sales, because a lot of people who message them do icky sales and they don't want to be part of that crowd. Whereas it's more about building just rapport with people and just chatting, helping people out, seeing what they might be stuck with. So, I certainly think that there's a mindset shift that needs to happen, which we're looking to help people with in terms of confusion to clarity.
Absolutely.
So what are some early signs that a marketing system just isn't built for your own internal wiring, for your own brain?
I think if you keep starting and abandoning strategies per se, or ideas or things that people have told you to do because they feel heavy or they feel overwhelming or chaotic, and then you think, if I could just do this, and it just becomes too much, then there's one early sign that way of marketing that is not for you, because marketing is all encompassing. It's not just about social media. So there could be just one element that you're struggling with and one element you're not, but you feel obliged to be a expert at all of it, even though you're perhaps not even a marketer. You are, selling something completely different. And also things when you just sort of need constant motivation or reminders to sort of keep it going, to keep doing it. And when we're really excited and motivated, we get on and do it. We don't have to remember. My working memory is appalling. I have cognitive dysfunction with ADHD. But I I am at a point in my life where I know how to put things into place that will be aid memoirs, if you like, so that I don't have to remember it. Things are done for me. But when I can't even be bothered to do that, I know that I've lost my mojo, as they say. So I think the other thing as well is that if you've got a really slick professional system, everything's done for you. It's all, oh my gosh, everyone's comments on how lovely this looks and how nice it was. But you're just not feeling it. You're still thinking, you're feeling disconnected from it almost.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that means it's not really fitting in with your natural rhythm, your energy, because we've all got our own energy patterns. Some people work better in the morning, some in the afternoon. And so how we've actually created or perhaps had help creating that professional sort of gorgeous looking system and customer journey and marketing and people are coming in, you soon start to fall out of love with what you're doing. And then instead of waking up going, you feel like, I've got to go and do that call. And instead of thinking, I got that call. There's a difference. You'll notice. It's very subtle at first.
I think it's double layered, that, isn't it? So, yes, we need to put some marketing systems in place. That possibly sounds boring, but it certainly helps to manage your work so we don't get overwhelmed. We've got a system in place to do that. Yeah. But then it's layering that, isn't it? Or creating a system that works for you. It's something that a lot of entrepreneurs go through or need to go through in terms of, well, what does work for me? So perhaps it really helps to be diagnosed with ADHD so you can really understand your own behaviour. I'm what they call an advocate personality, and that has its own traits as well. So kind of knowing yourself, I think, really empowers you to be able to then create a marketing system that is tailored more for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I work with people who think differently, because we actually all do think differently. It doesn't mean that I am working with everybody, but because people don't tend to use that phrase very much, we all do think differently, but actually we all think the same about things as well, psychologically speaking.
Okay, Kate. So I know that you also talk a lot about sustainability and self-awareness in business, as we just touched upon. So when someone's starting from scratch, what are the core elements of a simple marketing system that they can get started with right now? Okay,
so I'm going to keep this simple. First of all, you have to just attract people into your world. Get in front of them. Get in front of the right people with a clear message that speaks to their needs. Okay, now that's a lot easier to say because it's like, well, how do I do that? And that is very often the first sticking point. So keeping it simple, don't spend a week trying to work out who your ideal customer is. Just don't. Okay, you know who you might want to help. You've got a rough idea, and instead of spending like days on trying to craft the perfect elevator pitch, I work with Little Miss Muffets who sit on tuffets, and I try and help them work out strategies to keep spiders away. You know what I mean? Whilst they're eating their curds and whey. It just starts sounding a bit, because you don't go and put that out there. If you're going to use social media, pick that one. If you're going to use a podcast, pick that one. Pick one thing first. So let's just start with social media. It's the most common one. If you want to attract people, you have to make posts online. Which platform do you prefer to use? Not where are my clients? Yes, they are dotted around all over the place. Your clients are on every single platform. Believe me. I know this. I was around before the internet began and I've had clients from all the platforms. Which platform do you prefer to use, find easiest to manage and find is easy for you to be able to have conversations with people? Use that platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. Stick to one and start putting out talking about things that you like to attract people. The simple thing is that. Do that. Test it. What will happen is you will attract people you don't want to work with, but you don't know that until you've put something out there. So instead of, like I say, spending the whole week crafting the perfect who I work with and who my ideal customer is, they will resonate with what you say. So same as if a podcast, people will look for podcasts that have got in the blurb things that they want to hear about. When people do start coming into your world, let's say they've liked and comment on posts for this simple system, nurture them, talk to them. And now I say that is it, 'cause it's attract, nurture, and then you convert, deliver, or whatever you need to do. But the nurturing bit, that's where it sounds manipulative because it's almost like, well, we're wooing. We're trying to, get them to our way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, that is it in a nutshell. So use it. But if you just rejig that, just go, I need to have these conversations with people. It's not just about nurturing and trying to get them into my world. I need to identify if they are the people for me. And I can only do that by finding out more about them. So how can I talk to them more? How can I encourage them? Go over to their own platforms, posts, find out what they're like. If what you're putting out there is attracting people who think, actually, there's too many people I don't want to nurture to bring in my world, that's when you know that what you wanted to talk about needs to change. That's when you can go back to your elevator pitch and readjust it. Because then you've got the system after that. People will follow you. You can talk in different ways about what you're selling. That's, I know for some people, the easier bit, because they've already gone past that. Well, actually, she said this. I'm intrigued. I will find out more. And then, oh, I like that. I will go to that page and have a look. And then they go, oh, and then they will buy it. You know, most people quite often know already. So I would say the simplest marketing system is just getting started and testing out who is coming into your world by default and working from there.
So you're talking about who do you attract by default?
Yeah.
Yeah, just going out there, just yourself and being yourself. So being your own unique self will attract those people who are like-minded. Yeah, very much so. I find, I don't know yourself, Kate, as well, in marketing or when you work with clients, sometimes people find it hard to make decisions in terms of what to do going forward. So how does understanding your own decision-making style make everything a lot easier for you? Because I think that's a piece of work that people skip, or maybe they're unaware of that element as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. So there are different types of decision makers, really. And it's not necessarily to do with confidence as such. Sometimes it's to do with urgency or priority or what you think has to be done. So if you can make a snap decision and it could go one way or the other, and you don't mind, you will accept the consequences, whatever they are. That's actually a good thing. I make snap decisions all the time without necessarily thinking them through, because I know that I'm going to get probably most of them wrong. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Not anymore. We haven't got time for that. And the only way that I can find out what goes wrong is by taking the chance and making a decision. Because then once I've done something wrong, it hasn't worked. If you're in a situation where it's like, oh my God, now I'm left with not having any sales, not having any marketing, then it should have happened loads of steps back, you know. So I've put out offers, see what's happening, see it all as data. When you're in business, you have to have data. Am I selling this many? What is selling it? Where is everything coming from? So I always like to take things back to the data. Even just having a notepad. I spoke to 5 people today. One person decided to continue to have a conversation. And then this week so that was 5 people this week. And one of those actually decided to come on board for something I'm doing. You can work out, okay, well, now I need to make a decision. Do I speak to more people? Is that going to try? Test it out. Who knows? Yeah. If you've struggled to make a decision, if you're really just not sure and you're just not feeling confident enough to make the decision because you're usually worried about the consequences, is it going to work? And unless you are psychic to the point of being able to know everything that's happening, right? Like to the fine detail, then you're never going to know. You can quite often only make decisions on guesswork. So what you're trying to do is make a decision based on all the information you don't know. And you're never going to get to that decision. It's going to just make you feel worse, because then it becomes more urgent. Then it becomes more of a thing. So when we make a decision, if in business, in marketing, we can't possibly know 100% the outcome. After 2 or 3 years, after a few months, we can anticipate and guess, guide, spot the trends of what's working and what's not. So we can make decisions based on what we know has worked, and we have a starting point from there. But most of the time, you have to make decisions that you don't know what's actually going to happen. And so if you're going to put yourself into a position where it's going to be dire straits, then perhaps you to rethink, why am I actually even making this decision in the first place? go back more steps. Something's missing. So when you design your business processes around your strengths, like what are you really good at making decisions about really quickly and that actually works best, you can do that. But when you don't, you need to remove the friction of like forcing your willpower or forcing a decision. Ask for help. If you don't like asking for help, there's a different thing there. Why don't you like asking for help? Because I don't know anybody that's ever done anything in business without having to have help and guidance. And I struggled with asking for help for a long time. I thought it made me look not capable, incompetent, and not good enough. Well, I thought it made me look that. But that's only when I realised, it's only when I looked in the mirror. I felt like it because I'd put this expectation on myself that I needed to get everything right, or it meant that I wasn't doing it. But nobody else out there was. They're too worried about making their own, decisions, to be fair. So yeah, understanding your own decision-making style can make a huge difference.
You could use that methodology as a compass, really. I mean, that's how it comes across to me. But you can only start to use the compass effectively if you make some decisions. So you get that data back. So the more decisions you make, whether it's wrong or right, is more data at the end of the day. So you can start to understand what works for you and what doesn't work for you and do a little bit more of what works for you. Is what you're saying there. So maybe a piece of advice I had when I was starting out in terms of my own business was from somebody who said to me, say yes more often. It was as simple as that. So when you would normally say no to something, say yes and see where it takes you. It might be good for you or it might not be so good for you, but say yes with a bit of calculation behind it. But if you want to change your life and get your business moving, you've got to say yes when you would normally say no, which is all part of decision making. Absolutely. I love that. So what you've described there as well, Kate, is structure. Certainly when you mention about just jotting a few things down in terms of what you want to achieve today, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. I DM'd 5 people, 1 came back to me. That's structure at the end of the day. So I also think in entrepreneurship, it's about balancing that structure, your own creativity. How do you personally balance creativity with structure in your own business? I
plan frameworks. So if I can see a loose framework, like, well, this has got to happen, this has got to happen, and this has got to happen. This can't happen until this has happened. And there are things that I need to know and don't. I don't have rigid rules. I need to have that space to be creative. So if I have really rigid rules about how I do things in structure, there are some things that are fixed. For example, customer service, follow up. There are certain things that you do have rules about. But I think it's having that attitude as like remembering we're not perfect. We want to be as perfect because we want to, whatever we put out there represents us. And we don't want to appear as unprofessional, incompetent. So we have to bear that in mind. That is always at the back of our mind, sort of sitting there in our psyche. But if I have a framework, then just for example, about tasks that I have to do, I stagger it through the week. For example, you can have a framework for the week. So I don't have any calendar open. Any of my calendars open for Mondays and Fridays, right? Because that gives us for 2 reasons. One is if I want to be away or do something, I've got that flexibility. But also it means that I can catch up and do things or prepare things for the week. And it also means that I can have ad hoc conversations. I can have ad hoc if something's happened a week before and a client was held up or I was held up, something like that. We can have another quick call or whatever we need to do on the Monday or the Friday. So it's my space for being able to mop things up. So my framework of just that simple framework of how I run my calendar actually runs the whole of my business. So I know that each month, every 3 months, we have to do VAT returns. So I know that the beginning of each month, my son who runs the Brainwaves and Blueprints with me, at the beginning of each month, he does a tally up, does a reconciling. He does things like that. So that then at the end of the 3 months, we know everything's ready and we can fire it off to the accountant. Because otherwise it just builds up too much. So there's that type of structure. Now, if he misses a day, it doesn't matter. He'll do it on another day that week if something's happened. But he will still then just shuffle things around. So having a loose framework means that you've got room for creativity. So He wouldn't then say, well, I can't do that video editing that you've just done as a straight off the bat because I've got to do the accounts. It's like, no, let's get that done. Let's get the creativity done. Let's get that out there and moving because we're all motivated. I'll do the accounts tomorrow and then do the accounts tomorrow and put it in the diary. So I think that's how I balance creativity with structure, as I live by my calendar and make sure everything's in there, because then it reminds me it has to happen as well. As I say, dysfunctional cognitive working memory. And also we need the structure because it's there to protect the creativity. Let's just say, right, you've got to go and write a blog and you've got the afternoon, you've had your lunch, or you wake up in the morning, you take the kids to school, whatever you've got to do, and you go, right, I've got a couple of hours now, I can write a blog. It'll take you that time. And at the end of that time, you'll probably feel, oh, I've just about finished it. But if you just say, right, I need to have this blog written in the next 45 minutes, you will. Because if you don't the first time, the second time, you will start working out a different way of doing it to push yourself to actually get it done within that time. And you will compromise. You will make negotiations with yourself. You go, okay, well, perhaps I don't need it all this many words. Perhaps I don't need to bring in everything at all about it. Perhaps the topic I was talking about is actually 2 blogs. Right, do you know what? I'm going to break it down. I'll do this one this week and the next one next week. So you have the structure, but it's allowing the room for creativity. And so a batch, like creative work, when my energy is sort of at its highest, and then I use automations quite often to sort of take the pressure off afterwards. So I know that once I've done this part, I can breathe a sigh of relief because the systems take over. If that makes sense.
Yeah, very, very much so. I love that. I was listening quite intently there. I liked everything you said there. So using your calendar is a great thing to do. We all use it in corporate. If you used to work in corporate calendar, it's full of stuff, lots of meetings. I remember I worked in agencies, and they would have something called time tracking. So you've got to get the work done in a certain time because the client's budget is time driven. Which certainly doesn't suit everyone. So having that flex in your week is great, but for creativity, because I think as a creative person myself, creativity needs time around it for it to really come out in full. Love that. Okay. So that's the big breakdown. It's time to move on to another section on the show, which we like to call a buzzword bingo. Right, so now it's time for a buzzword bingo. So welcome to the buzzword bingo hall. Kate, you might see around you, floating around. We've got CTA. There it is. SEO and AI as well is floating around in all of its newness. So if you're new to the show, if you're listening in every week, my guest explains a marketing term or buzzword that gets thrown around a little bit too often, and usually it's quite misunderstood as well. So we're looking to throw a little bit of clarity on these words, and sometimes we call them out as well, because some of them are a little bit ridiculous in terms of how many buzzwords and acronyms there are in marketing. So Kate, over to you for your buzzword. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I would like to throw funnels out there because they are causing a lot of stress at the moment. So let's talk about funnels as being the buzzword at the moment. People have a lot of different perspectives. You did a great episode where you broke it down as well and explained what it was. And so I think we're going to be holding up funnels today, and we're going to be examining it. So when we started out, we talked about marketing being, negotiation, manipulation, compromise, persuasion as well. Mm-hmm. Funnels, is all of that. And the word is that people say, well, they try and soften it. It's just a customer journey. Now, it's a great phrasing because it does mean it's wider at the top. If you look at a funnel, you speak to more people. I gave an example earlier of you speak to more people, and then some people will drop out, they'll have a conversation, and then other people will come down into your world. It's just, how can I get people to do this? And what do I need to do? And so you get a lot of talk, nurture people on the way. We've talked about that. Everything you do, you are in a funnel. Whether you say, I don't need a whole funnel, I don't need all those landing pages, I'm going to just have a Google Doc. Let me break it to you, my friend. That Google Doc, that page you're sending people to find out more, that's part of a funnel. That is the funnel. That is what you're using to bring people down through into your world, because not everybody who looks at that Google Doc is going to take the next step. It's exactly the same. So I just want to say that there's nothing to be scared about. Yes, it's how we have the customer journeys. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to trademark as well my event name, which is Funnel Craft, because it's about crafting a funnel per se, because that's where you're using specific systems. So I would say the funnels does bring up that it's related to the systems that you use, the platforms that you use, because you're actually using automation to get things done. But don't be afraid of them. Everything you're doing is part of a funnel. So don't be in denial about that. Whether you pay for platforms or not, you're still taking people on a customer journey, which is what it is. And it's what you were talking about in your podcast episode. It is a customer journey that we want to take people for. So like I said earlier as well, if you're walking past the shop and you see somebody, clever shops might have had an A board outside of somebody walking along, and they grab you and they will drag you in. Quick, come in, open the door, come and taste this free coffee. So, okay. It's a funnel. It's a customer journey. Now you're in there, you're like, oh, okay, how do I get out of here? So that's it. I just wanted to dispel the myths.
You've certainly dispelled them. You've brought funnels back to what they're meant to be. So a funnel isn't a trap. It's not a spider's web. It's a natural path. And I think a funnel is more about, when it's created intentionally, it's more about creating trust rather than forcing a sale.
Yes.
Love that, Kate. So if you weren't sure about funnels beforehand, I do have a rewind and maybe listen to that again to get the key points about what a funnel is for you. Certainly not meant to be a complicated thing. Okay, let's move on then to the next section of the show, which is what would Kate do? Okay, Kate, so let's play a quick round of what would you do. So if you were starting from scratch, knowing everything that you know about building sustainable marketing systems, what would you do first?
So I know this straight away. So because I know my brain and I know how I work, I'm more motivated when I put in a little structure in place and when I know how to use something. And there's tons of stuff out there that we don't know how to use. So I would do one of two things. I would just say, right, I need to have this system in place. I go for an all-in-one platform myself. That's my preference. Not everybody does that. And I would have everything in one place. It's going to make life a lot easier for me. And if I don't know how to use it, I will get some help to use it because I can then use everything. It's almost like my home base and I can take everything from there. So if I want to do emails, it's all in there. If I want to do social media, it's all in there and everything's linked up. That's one thing I have learned. Trying to pull together lots of different systems works beautifully in business. Multi-million pound companies do it brilliantly. They have multi-million pound teams. We forget that when we're starting out as solopreneurs, we forget that when you start out in business, you do need to have some sort of investment, whether it's financially or whether it's with time. If you were to go and sell something and have a shop in the middle of town, you know you've got to find the money for the rent. You know you've got to anticipate buying stock. You know that. It's a given. We know we have to do that. And so one of the things that I fell into, the trap that I fell into, was trying to do it with as budget. Yes, we can. We do need to do it on budget. We're in a situation now that we have the internet. So use what you can use for free. So all the social media platforms are free, right? So I would use all of those because they're for free. But when I want to create a video and put some videos on there, I will be discerning about what I pay for. I will invest. So I invested in some software on my phone. It's CapCut, actually. And I pay for that annually. And that means that when I make videos on my phone, I can do them better, feel more confident and put them out there. And that takes the stress off as well. So I would be looking for ways and I would be asking for help more if I'm starting again and saying, right, I don't know how to use this. Get someone to tell me. I can help you and charge you this, or I can teach you to charge you this, or you can just pay for somebody to do it for you and it will cost this. And then I can make an informed decision as to what is it going to cost me financially? What is it going to cost me in my time? And there are things that I could have paid for, years ago that would have saved me 2, 3, 4 days or weeks even, where I could have actually been having more conversations out there on social media, got used to knowing what works on social media and having more conversations and bringing people into the world. And also, I would just tell people about what I do more. You just tell people what you do, talk about it, put out offers. Most people do not see all your posts. In fact, most people see hardly any of them. We're not actively going to people's accounts anymore to go and see what they're talking about. We wait for the feed to pop up. So knowing that, one of the things I would do is I would make a point of going to the accounts and making sure that the algorithm knows that I'm interested in what they've got to say. And so I can continue to have those conversations. Otherwise it doesn't know. And then you miss out on things. And just assume then other people are missing out on what you're saying. So that's how I would definitely start out with that. And I would just have one place. I would just send people to just one place. They're either all going to a Facebook group, or they're all going to a podcast, or they're all going to a blog. It doesn't matter what it is. Google Doc, landing page. They're all going to one page, whether you have a lead magnet or not. That's it. Just send everybody there. And then you can start off analysing the data of what comes through. And then just have a couple of things that you can tell them about. Don't try and offer too many services. Just have one. That's it. Just one service. And then from demand, see if people want another service. Don't just assume you know what they want, because I've seen so many people coming out with, oh, I'm creating this program and it takes them 3 months to create this program. And then when they sell it out, there's crickets. Oh, everybody told me they wanted it. Well, did they though? Did they really? How did they tell you? Well, then you find out actually they hadn't been talking about it. They didn't really know. And so that's why they got crickets. So I've learned that myself. So that's what I do. I would just keep it simple.
That's very much what came across there. So keeping it simple, sending people to one destination as part of your funnel, I might ask. So keeping it simple. And I think those crickets, which you mentioned, are a good thing as well. So the crickets are data. So no bad thing. You know it's not landing with who you want it to land. So bring on the crickets initially so you're able to get rid of them, do something else, so they don't land again. I love that. Yeah, so thank you for taking us through that and kind of guiding us on the right path to getting started with sustainable systems. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the final section of the show, which is marketing fails and holy moly moments. So we're finishing up with, I think, everyone's favourite segment of the show sometimes, marketing fails and holy moly moments. So this is where we either have a story about when we failed a little bit in our marketing, which is absolutely fine to do. So whether you're new and getting started in your business with marketing, or whether you're a 7-figure business owner, at the end of the day, we're all people trying to get by. We make mistakes and sometimes things go wrong. So we don't want to appear like we're perfect, because it doesn't land with anyone. Or sometimes we have a holy moly moment as well, and that could be a brilliant moment for you where something worked fantastically well for you. It could be a shocking moment. Who knows? Everyone's got their own story, so that's what this is all about. So over to you, Kate. What do you have for us?
Okay, so I built this amazing course. Well, that's what I was telling myself at the time. It's an amazing course. And it was walking people through how to be legitimate, you know what I mean? How to be compliant, how to tick all the boxes so that you are legally compliant as a business, for basics. So a bit dry, maybe. Most people don't touch on that. But what I'd noticed at the time, and things haven't necessarily changed, is that a lot of people who come to me, and probably to yourself, is that they're not necessarily legally compliant with what's needed in business, down to GDPR, things like that. And so I did this lovely, amazing course. And I spent hours and hours and hours recording it, doing these most amazing intros. I spent more time, I think, doing these most amazing intros, lovely little 30-second intros and exits. And the amount of time it took me absolutely ages, because I thought I wanted it to be perfect. It was almost as if I thought I was trying to produce this TV series, you know what I mean, with credits and all sorts. I have no idea why I thought that. And so when I did like clips and snippets, and when I put it out there, I had automated everything. I had a lovely, nice little landing page. It was quite a long time ago, so the systems weren't the same as much. You didn't really have the all-in-one platforms as much, so you had to use different platforms, and you had to rely on one platform working. And so I put it out there. I didn't tell anyone. I kept it quiet. I was just sort of talking online. And so when I put it out there, I expected this amazing, oh my God, rush of people to come towards me. And they didn't. There were quite a few people came to it and had a look at it, but that was about it. No one bought it. No one, absolutely no one. And it was the time that I'd wait. It was an absolute flop. And I couldn't work out why. So what I did was I then started offering it for less and less money to try and get people into it. Mm-hmm. And actually, a couple of people then did go through it. And I did have a system where I could tell which part of the videos that they could look at and watch at. And when I actually looked at the ones that they'd watched, it was that they just watched little bits out of each of them. So they didn't even go through it all. And I don't even know, because I hadn't put into place any follow-up as to how they were, did it work for them? It was just this course. Off you go. Yeah, thank you very much. Now you're legally compliant. But there was no sort of follow-up. So I decided, right, okay, well, I still need to try and get this out to help people. What can I do instead? So my little holy moly moment came when it's like, you've just hit that perfectionism thing again, Kate. You made this all about you. What you want to deliver, what you think people need, how you think people learn. And I could have kicked myself because I do have a background in working in schools and education. And I had completely forgotten everybody's different learning styles. I had just made it, well, ego. If I can learn this way, then it will work for everyone. And I know that's not to be true, but I thought, well, I'll make it as simple as possible. So I scrapped that and I sort of rocked my heels a bit. Thought, okay, when I made posts, people were still asking me questions about it. So what I did was I thought, let's just simplify this. So I said, hey, who would like to have a free workshop? Because you say that and everybody wants to jump on it, about how to be legally compliant. And then people came to it. And so I said, well, if you sign up, that's it. So they got an email and I said, I'm going to invite you at the end I had revamped the course, rejigged a bit, taken out a few of the long-winded, credits at the beginning and simplified it. And I said, okay, well, I am going to make an offer at the end to see if you would like to buy the course to take things further. It's up to you. And I sent them to the landing page. They signed up for it. They wanted to know more. They didn't have to pay them then. They wanted to know more. It was a wait list, actually. It was a wait list. I said, it's open next month. And I sent them an email. And then my psychology training kicked in. And at the bottom of the email, I made a curiosity button. And I just made a round orange button. I put curiosity button. And that was it. And then I tagged it. I did tag it so I knew how many people had gone through with it. And the course I'd done, I'd revamped it so that it was like, you got me for a year. It was more like a program. And there were other things in it as well. And I said, it's going to open in a month's time. And you could pay monthly, like a membership type thing, or annually. And so what happened was the curiosity button went to a page which said, haha, you're obviously interested because you click the curiosity button. Well, okay, as soon as you're here, you can have a super early bird if you pay for an annual, and you can have the whole thing for this price. And 85% of people did. And they all bought an annual.
Wow.
Yeah.
There we go.
And they were with me, and some of those clients are still with me. Like this was years and years ago. Some of those clients are still with me, working in different parts. I go in and do like ad hoc, or they have them in a maintenance thing, as well, that they work through. Because after that was, well, what's next, Kate? What's next? They were in my world. And so, yeah, that was it. I just used the psychology of, I didn't say urgency. I didn't say if you buy it by this. I said, here it is. If you want to buy it before we open, you can have it for this price. And they did.
That's a great learning, and definitely a holy moly moment. When we're trial and error in terms of what works, what doesn't, getting data back as we talked about today, and then finding something that really works not for you, for your audience, really, isn't it? Finding that's fantastic.
What I actually learned was that people respond to me speaking to them rather than just what they read on posts or see on a video. They respond to being in my presence. That is because, especially having ADHD, I bounce back with ideas. I can respond. I find that that's when I'm in my zone of genius. But I didn't really know that then. But looking back now, I think that's what happened. So when people came to that masterclass and had interaction with me and talked to me about it, that's when they were able to build, as you say, that trust before they then take. So when they did feel okay to click on it, and then that's what happened. And I didn't really know that about myself. Or that was also part of the holy moly thing, is not to rely on, just putting things out there and waiting for it to come in. Be active, be proactive, get out there, let people see you, talk to people, have conversations.
Actually do events. Yeah, I think people then can connect with you better. Yeah. You are the person behind posts, carousels, whatever you do on social media. You're always the person behind them. So it does have your energy and knowledge, but nothing beats actually a live event, So whether it's like a Zoom event, and the thing that tops a Zoom event, I think, is a live event. So like your funnel event there. So actually go along and talk to Kate and her crowd as well, and you get more integrated, don't you, within your world. Love that. And the holy moly moment you provided us there. Okay, Kate, I have to say it's been such a grounded and refreshing chat with you today. So thank you for bringing your expertise and your humour and all of your insights as well. If someone listening would like to get in touch with you and learn more about you, let us know. Where would you like to point us towards? Yeah,
so Funnelcraft Live, we do it twice a year, March and October. And this year it was about the psychology of being in business with your marketing. And this year in March, it's called Funnelcraft Live, Director's Cut, because it's all about those things that the director keeps to themselves, which is you as the business owner, and doesn't necessarily share. So let's explore those. And it's a fantastic event. It's one day. It's never going to get too large. You can find out more about it. Come and see me. I've got links over on LinkedIn or Facebook. In fact, if you pop over to my Instagram, you'll see what we did to the speakers recently because my cat is part of my marketing, and you'll see what we did if you go and look at my Instagram account. But also, please come and see me on the podcast that I host with Tanya Gerard. It's called ADHD Founders Unfiltered. If that's the sort of thing that you are interested in knowing more about, it is us having some ramblings. We've got an episode all about biscuits, which you might find interesting as well, if you like biscuits.
Sounds very intriguing. Yeah, who doesn't like biscuits? So thanks, Kate, for sharing all of your links there and about your event in March 2026 as well. So we're going to put all of the links into the show notes of this episode. So do have a look at those and visit Kate's links there. Okay, so if this conversation has reminded you that your brain doesn't need fixing, it just needs a little bit more structure that fits your internal wiring, do come along as well and join us in Fuzzled Academy. That's my online membership that helps you build clarity and consistency and calm growth in your marketing. You can find everything there, again, in the show notes at paulculshaw.com/fuzzled. So thanks so much, Kate, for coming on to the podcast. I really enjoyed your company today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. You're a great host, Paul. Thank you so much. Make us feel, very at ease and ready to spill the beans. So top notch.
Oh, thank you very much. I might still make that London comedy stage at some stage. Thanks for listening as well. I'm Paul Culshaw, and this is Fuzzled, transforming confusion into clarity, one topic at a time. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Fuzzled, from confusion to clarity in digital marketing. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and share. It really helps content creators like me reach more people. And if you're ready to take your business to the next level, check out my Digital Success Academy. It's packed with step-by-step video trainings, templates and tools to help you grow your business with confidence. You'll find all the details at paulculshaw.com. See you next time, and remember, clarity beats confusion every time.